What if I told you that the most powerful woman in ancient Greece, a woman who advised kings, predicted wars, and shaped the fate of empires, was actually a prisoner? That her divine prophecies came from a source so tragic, it would break your heart. For over 1,000 years, the Oracle of Delphi was the most trusted voice in the ancient world. But the truth behind her mysterious powers reveals something devastating about how we've always treated those who were different.
Think about the last time you desperately needed guidance. Maybe you were choosing between job offers, wondering if a relationship was worth fighting for, or facing a decision that felt too big to make alone. Now imagine traveling for weeks across dangerous mountains, carrying precious gifts just to ask one person what you should do. That's exactly what ancient Greeks did. Farmers, merchants, generals, even kings would make the treacherous journey to a small town called Delphi, nestled high in the mountains. They came seeking the Pythia, the Oracle. She was their Google, their therapist, their fortune teller, all rolled into one. Kings would bow before her. Generals would change their battle plans based on her words. Entire city-states would make life or death decisions because of what she said. But here's what makes it heartbreaking. She never chose this life. Picture a young woman, maybe in her teens, living a simple life in a mountain village. One day, she starts acting different. She speaks in strange voices, has visions, falls into mysterious trances. In our world, we might recognize these as symptoms of a neurological condition, perhaps epilepsy, schizophrenia, or another disorder that affects consciousness. But in ancient Greece, this made her sacred, dangerous, divine. The priest at Delphi would identify girls like this and bring them to the temple, not as honored guests, but as tools, living instruments for the god Apollo to speak through. But here's where the story gets truly tragic. Once a woman became the Pythia, her old life ended. She couldn't marry, couldn't have children, couldn't leave. She lived isolated in the temple, her only purpose to enter those altered states and deliver prophecies. The method was brutal. She would sit on a special tripod over a crack in the earth, breathing in vapors that modern scientists believe contained ethylene, a sweet-smelling gas that causes euphoria, then hallucinations, then complete dissociation from reality. The effects would hit her like waves. First, lightheadedness, then vivid visions, then a complete loss of self-awareness. Combined with her existing neurological condition, this created the perfect storm for what seemed like divine possession. But for her, it was torture dressed up as worship. Imagine being that woman. Your mind already struggles with reality, and now you're forced to inhale mind-altering gases while strangers demand answers from the gods. Your confusion and suffering become other people's hope. The priest would then interpret her often incoherent words, turning her trauma into carefully crafted prophecies that kept pilgrims coming and donations flowing. Here's what hits hardest. We haven't really changed. Throughout history, we've taken people who experience the world differently, those with mental illness, neurological conditions, or unique perspectives, and either worship them as prophets or cast them out as problems. We create systems that exploit their differences instead of supporting their humanity. We build entire industries around their pain. Look at how we treat artists with bipolar disorder, calling their manic episodes creative genius while ignoring their suffering. Or how we romanticize the tortured poet instead of getting them help. We still want to consume their uniqueness without caring for their well-being. Think about it. How often do we see someone struggling with their mental health and either put them on a pedestal, like you're so deep, so artistic, or push them away, like you're too intense, too much? We still don't know how to simply be with people who experience life differently than we do. The Oracle of Delphi wasn't a mysterious goddess. She was likely a young woman with a neurological condition used by a religious system that profited from her suffering. But here's what I find beautiful in this tragic story. Despite everything, despite being exploited and isolated, these women still helped people. Real people with real problems found comfort in their words. Maybe the true oracle wasn't in the prophecies themselves, but in the simple act of someone listening, really listening to human pain and responding with hope. The pilgrims didn't travel all that way just for predictions. They came because they needed to feel heard by something greater than themselves. They needed permission to make difficult choices or courage to face uncertain futures. In a way, we could all be oracles for each other, not by predicting the future, but by offering our full presence when someone is struggling, by listening without judgment, by helping others find the wisdom they already carry inside themselves. It's about creating sacred space for people's truth, without the exploitation, without forcing them into roles they never chose, without making their differences into commodities. Every time you truly listen to a friend in crisis, you're channeling that same sacred energy, without the exploitation, without the gas fumes, without the isolation. Every time you support someone with mental health struggles, instead of making them feel broken or mystical, you're breaking the pattern that trapped those ancient women. Every time you trust your own inner wisdom, instead of seeking answers from external authorities, you're honoring what the Oracle of Delphi might have been if she'd been free to choose her own path. And every time you refuse to reduce someone to just their most useful trait, their talent, their trauma, their difference, you're choosing to see their full humanity. The heartbreaking secret of the Oracle of Delphi isn't just about ancient history. It's about recognizing the sacred in the everyday, the wisdom in our struggles, and the power of truly seeing each other's humanity. So here's your mission, if you choose to accept it. Today, be someone's oracle, not by having all the answers, but by offering your full attention to someone who needs it. Listen like their words matter. Respond like their pain is sacred. Help them discover the wisdom they already possess. Because that's what the Oracle of Delphi really was. Not a mystical fortune teller, but a reminder that sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is simply witness each other's truth. Have you ever felt valued for just one thing about yourself while the real you got ignored? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe if this story changed how you think about wisdom, and hit the notification bell, because next week we're uncovering another secret from history that will completely shift your perspective on what it means to be human.